Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Welcome everyone to Satsang. Welcome to 2022, the first Satsang of the new year. Happy to see you all. So today, before we start with your comments and questions, I have an announcement to make for you all, just to inform you of what change is happening here. So I'm going to spend 2022 in India, Tiruvannamalai, at Sri Arunachala. So I'll be leaving the 1st of February, shortly thereafter. But I'll be taking the equipment with me so that we can continue once the circumstances align. We'll start up the Zoom satsangs again from Tiruvannamalai. So what that means for us now is that for the next 3 weeks, we'll continue as usual. Darshan, satsang. So I wanted to remind you to be sure that whatever platform you get your notifications on, whether it's Facebook or YouTube or WhatsApp or Instagram, that you be sure you enable your notifications. Because once we get ready to start up again in India, we'll be sending out notifications across all of the platforms. So be sure that your notifications are turned on and you have selected all so that you can get the new notifications when we start up again. So the new year is always a good time for me to remind all of you that no matter what is in front of you at this moment that might be troubling you or distracting you in some way, we always have the opportunity to begin again. And so what does this mean? You are always, already the self. You are always, already free. This never changes. But the perception of the senses and the mind is always moving and changing, as you know. And this sometimes clouds our direct perception. I am that which is aware. This process in Advaita, in Vedanta philosophy, is called the veiling quality of the mind. So just as we begin again each year at this time, if we're following the Julian calendar, we also have to remind ourselves sometimes that the mind, the emotions, has become clouded in some way. Through thinking, feeling, activity of the body-mind, and then a subsequent identification that follows. But the solution is relatively simple and very direct. This is the foundation of the inquiry, who am I, or what is aware here? The reason we use this inquiry way is to remind ourselves that we are always already free, and that when we become distracted, we are kind and compassionate toward the mind, the feelings, the emotions, which have gotten caught one more time, and we simply return to the recognition that which is aware is here now, regardless of what the object, situation, feeling, emotion, and so on, that is passing through. It is passing through the awareness itself. You are that. This simple recollection, this simple beginning again, over and over, eventually bears fruit in the recognition, I am that which is aware, under all circumstances, at all times, in all places. And in this recognition, I am free. So who would like to start this morning with a comment or a question? Hello, Eileen.
Hello, Namaste.
Namaste.
You can hear me?
Of course, yes, go ahead.
My question is, when I'm trying to ask a question, there is always some mental answer, like it learned answers about freedom. How to just how to be free from this one who thinks it knows all the answers.
If you look for this one, what do you find?
Just it appears also as an object in the awareness. It is a persistent. It's a recurrent energy.
Yes.
But it's not there all the time. But and maybe this is another another object or another I which is afraid that might be being fooled by not asking questions.
Mm-hmm. Yes, all of this can be true. But you've already put your finger on it in a way. You've realized directly through your own experience that when this is occurring, it is an object. So, objects, as we've spoken about often, are always coming and going. We don't know where the beginning of them is, and we often don't know where the end of them is. The objects just keep coming and going. The phenomenon just keep coming and going. And when it's talked about in the way you're talking about it, that it's a repetitive habit in the mind, this is the direct understanding that the mind is conditioned by its previous experience, and it has a momentum to it, and it continues when it is, who knows what, when it is bored, when it is uncertain in its own silence, when it's not sure, when there is some fear present, then the mind will pick up this activity. And in doing so, it reconditions that same habit. But seeing it as you have and knowing that it's an object that you're looking at, then it becomes in that moment quite simple to say, what is it that sees this object? And in doing so, what we're doing is we're saying, I'm not so interested in the object. You see, it is that interest in the object over and over and over, which we call conditioning of the mind. So what we do with the inquiry, we say, I'm not so interested in this object. What is it that sees the object? Once we ask this question, this is the same question as who am I or what is aware here. We say, what is aware of this object? Then there is a silence that follows because this actually is a question which cannot be answered with the mind. So this, over time, repeated over time, coming back to this beginning again, as I referred to earlier, starting over, this eventually conditions the mind to stay in the still state and to become comfortable in that silence. So this is the way in which we break that cycle of conditioning. What is aware of this object? Lose interest in the object, shift the attention to this inquiry. What is here that is not that object, that is aware of the object? This is the way to break that cycle.
Mm-hmm. Thank you. So just keep staying aware of it. It is like everything is just keeps things just keep appearing different, maybe different shapes or different personas.
Yes.
And, maybe sometimes there is some element of feeling caught up in it, but eventually it always becomes clear that I'm always aware of it, and then eventually dissolves. But it still sometimes it feels a little bit like a battle, that it's one thing trying to be resurrected, or maybe that is still alive, and then another one that is it doesn't want those things anymore, already recognizes these things, but maybe still feels some level of involvement because it wants to be, or thinks it is free.
Yes, this is absolutely true. It does feel like a battle at certain moments. Yes. But this is where the effort to pull back from the battle. So in a way, for there to be a battle going on, one has to at one moment take one side or one position of the mind, and at another moment take the other position. So in the mind, this looks like I am free. A moment later, I am not free. I am bound. So this is the battle that goes on within the mind. This is why it can never be resolved with the mind, correct? Because
Correct.
the mind is always going to go to one side or the other, and the appearance of two is going to be there. So the question is, how do we resolve this appearance of two? Well, it's not by giving attention to either the thought I am free or the thought I am bound, but rather to inquire, turn toward the source, and ask, what is aware of both of these assumed or seeming positions? Once we lose interest in each of the positions by saying, where is it? What is it that is here, and allowing both of those positions at different times to arise? What is that? Now we have removed ourselves from that back and forth seesaw, from that battle, and we've put the attention back toward the source, which is awareness itself, or the I am. And we come to that place, and as soon as we come there, right away the mind sees there is no place further to go with the mind. There is just this recognition, awareness is here, I am. And we just wait there. Everything comes to a stop in that moment. Now, in the beginning, of course, it may only come to a stop for a short period of time, and then one side or the other of the mind will jump in, say, oh, I am free. No, you're not. I am not free. Yes, I am. This will be the game that the mind continues to play, because the mind is always asserting itself as the dominant feature of our experience. This is the way the mind prevents us from stepping back, if you will, into the recognition. That which is aware of both of these objects. Therefore, that which is aware cannot be either one of these objects. So what is this awareness? This is the turning in, returning to the source that Bhagavan talks about.
Thank you so much. Blessings.
Yes, blessings to you. And please just continue, continue with faith and persistence, a gentle persistence, but nonetheless persistence, so that you just keep saying, okay, let go, let go, let go. Not this, not this, not this, not this. Only that which is aware is here.
Thank you. So it's just a matter of time for these things to dissolve if I'm not putting attention on this.
Yes, the objects definitely do dissolve, especially the conditioning dissolves over time. And the hopeful part about that is that that time can be this quickly. We never know. This is the faith part of the whole thing, is that we never know whether the next moment will be that moment of, aha, I am that which is aware, and it never leaves from then, or whether we have to do this repeatedly over many months or many years. We just don't know. So this requires a simple faith in the teaching that I am already free,
Yes.
and that I can know this directly and realize this as my nature. So this faith, it's there, grows, becomes stronger as we engage in the inquiry or the practice. Return to the source.
Thank you.
Mm. And you know, this is only one way. I should say this to all of you too. This is only the one way, right? We have this dual path in a way through Vedanta, which is both the path. We have the path of wisdom and the path of bhakti or devotion. They are ultimately the same. But if you are drawn to this path of wisdom, then this inquiry is very, very potent. But at the same time, if this is not suitable for your mind, for your heart, then you simply keep putting everything down. All of the objects that come to the mind, you put them at the feet of the Lord, put them at the feet of the Master, you give them to him, and you say, I may not be able to do this, but you can. So I give you everything, including everything that I think I am. I surrender all of my opinions to you. So these are the two ways in Vedanta that you can come to this recognition. That which is aware is here now, or I am free. So whichever suits you at a given moment, use that. But you may find you have one preference over another. This is also fine, because the freedom that you are is not defined by the path that you seem to walk. Freedom is before all of that. But while you still have this feeling, I am not free or I am bound, then we have these ways of assisting ourselves so that we don't become caught in the objects. We either see for ourselves that the objects are coming and going, therefore they cannot be me, or we see everything belongs to the Supreme. Everything belongs to God, so I put everything at the feet of the Supreme, and we leave it there. Then the mind can also become quite silent. Can seem sometimes as though when I'm saying you are already free, however some effort may be required, that there is a contradiction in that. But there is not. The effort that is required for the mind. The freedom, which you are, is before the mind. So there is no contradiction, but as long as you realize there is still some sense of me, some sense of you, some sense of other, some sense of duality, then some effort will be required. But don't strain yourself over it. Come back gently. Don't abuse the mind and the heart by saying, oh, I didn't understand it again, or I failed again, or whatever the mind wants to say about that. Just don't do that. Come back gently. Come back easily to this recognition. I am not that. I am this freedom which is aware of that. And then go again. Go on your daily life, do what you do. Let the body dance, let the mind dance as it wants to. This is not you. Even when the mind is completely still, some of you I know have already shared this with me. You know this experience. The mind is completely still. There's a deep sense of silence, and yet somehow the body still dances. There is work to do. There are relationships. There's money to be made, so on. So this dance continues to go on, but this is related to the body. You can let the body dance and have no attachment in the mind. The mind can be still and empty while the body dances. Om. May you all come to realize true nature and freedom in this moment. May all beings be well, happy, and peaceful. Namaste.